This week on The Insider, we'll be talking about investing in Erie with my guest, Tim Nicastro, President and CEO of Erie Insurance. We'll talk about what's going on at the company and so much more in the community. We hope you'll stay with us. Hello and welcome to The Insider. I'm Lisa Adams. Welcome to our viewers and our listeners on the radio. Today we'll be talking about signs of a community on the rise, from new development downtown to helping the homeless and those in need, to having Governor Shapiro's attention on Erie, and mostly the role of Erie Insurance in instigating and propelling so many of these things forward. My guest today is Erie Insurance President and CEO Tim Nicastro, who has become kind of a regular here. Welcome back.
Thank you, Lisa. It's good to be here.
So happy to have you back here as well. And I'm calling the theme of this show Investing in Erie. I know the last time you were here, we talked about the fact that you were really charged with not one, but two jobs when you took the helm of Erie Insurance back in 2016. One of them running a Fortune 500 company, but the second one turning the city of Erie around from what I think John Persinger called decades of decline. So just a couple of little jobs. How's it going?
It's going very good. It's got me looking forward to retirement at the end of this year, quite honestly.
Yeah, I know you did announce your retirement at the end of this year, but certainly you are still full steam ahead with your job with Erie. And it certainly was good news that Erie Insurance moved up 15 spots on the Fortune 500 list of large corporations just this week.
Yeah, we did. It was, we don't set out to be the largest company, but it's a good proxy for how well we are received in the marketplace, the fact that we continue to grow. Heck, we're almost in the top 300 now.
And so that has to do obviously with some specific, benchmarks and so on. But man, to move up on the list at this economic time right now, I know inflation just announced today at the highest level in 3 years. So what are the headwinds like?
Well, they're really stiff for our industry right now, and price competition is really becoming rampant. The industry took many rate increases over the last couple of years, and consumers are feeling it. The thing of it is, prices of automobile repairs and home repairs and commercial building repairs are all going up. Medical costs are going up, and so our insurance rates have to go up to be able to cover the cost of the claims. And we'd like to see inflation calm down, but until it does, unfortunately, it's going to impact consumers in a lot of fronts. And the financial services industry is definitely not immune to inflation.
But again, certainly recognized for doing well in spite of all those things. So again, you were charged by Tom Hagen, chair of the board at that moment, with leading the charge to turn the city of Erie around. And really, there's no better example of how to go about that than Mr. Hagen when it comes to supporting in investing here in Erie. So many things he does behind the scenes, investing in the arts and so on, but the incredible revitalization of those historic homes on West 6th Street, something very noticeable to everyone, even moving the Olds Norman house from 7th to 6th Street last September. I mean, I was there, I could not believe my eyes. I know work continues to complete that house now that it's in its new place, but also setting up this preservation fund to care for these historic homes in perpetuity.
Yeah. Tom is really a big impact player in this market, and other markets don't have somebody like him. They may have multiple people that do smaller things, but certainly the scale of what Tom has done here definitely demonstrates his commitment to the community and is wanting to make an everlasting mark on it.
And he moved, as we know, into the chairman emeritus role after more than 20 years as chairman of the board of Erie Indemnity, his son Jonathan Hagen stepping in. So, I mean, you've touched on this a little already. What a debt of gratitude is Tom owed by the entire community?
I think we won't fully recognize the gratitude that he is due for decades yet. The endurance of the assets that he's preserved in this city, what he's done to prop up, as you mentioned, the cultural aspects of the city that he does very privately and very quietly. But so many things have been touched by him, and he's been a great example for myself and many others. We'll try and emulate once he's gone.
So talking about that change in leadership at the top of the board, and of course we know that your departure is coming at the end of the year, so how is the process going to fill your shoes?
Well, it's going on. It's being conducted by our board of directors. They announced, when they announced my retirement, they said they were going to conduct the search. It would be an internal search, and that they hope to accomplish it sometime by late third or early fourth quarter of this year. And I certainly hope so too, because I'd like to have my successor named and get working with them.
Yeah, so that'll give you a little bit of time to work on that transition with your hands on still.
Yes, and really, frankly, the successor is going to come from within. They'll be a person well known to me. They're likely to be a person that currently works with me and works for me. So the transition will be relatively simple and straightforward. And we've been preparing for this day for quite some time. So it's not something that caught us off guard, or we're ready for this.
Well, we'll certainly look forward to that announcement when the day comes, but we have so much more to talk about when it comes to your other job of turning Erie around, from the EDDC to Infinite Erie, the Triangle of Hope, and the Erie Insurance Foundation. Plenty more to talk about. We hope you'll stay with us. I'm Lisa Adams. Welcome back to The Insider. My guest again is Erie Insurance President and CEO Tim Nicastro. We are focused on investing in Erie, something Erie Insurance has really seeded, something that you personally have taken on too. So let's start with the EDDC, the Erie Downtown Development Corporation. How has that changed not just the physical landscape downtown, but maybe excited other partners to get involved and invest? You really had to start to push this rock up the hill.
Yeah, we clearly needed a catalyst in downtown. The properties were so underinvested, the streetscaping was in poor shape, the infrastructure was crumbling, and we needed a shot in the arm. And we realized we couldn't do it with commercial investment. We were not going to be able to attract developers into the area because the economics behind the investment just weren't there. And so we took an approach where community-based leadership organizations like Erie Insurance came together. We put money into a fund that we knew we were likely never going to see again, but we agreed to rebuild our community. That was necessary. We needed to get that catalyst. And that initial $28 million begat almost $150 million of investment in downtown.
Was it a hard sell initially?
You know, I was surprised how relatively easy it was, because people understood where we were at the time. They understood what kind of a community we were, the decline in our population base, and the economic disparity between African Americans and whites was the greatest in this community across the entire country for cities our size. We knew that there was urban decay. We knew that all those things had to be taken care of. And so there was almost a patriotic connection to it. People felt like, I need to be part of this. I want to be part of this community.
And really, I mean, I hate to use the term, other Rust Belts or other industrial northeastern cities were really facing the same challenge. So now we see lots of cranes in downtown Erie. Right now there's work on the flagship City Commons on North Park Row. Drew Whiting and his team working, I understand, on the tenants to move into this building now. So I know they always call this the missing tooth, but it's going to be restaurants, retail, office space, and I know there's a clamoring for office space downtown. So this, I know, is due to open about a year from now. So again, it's not a one and done with EDDC. The work continues.
It does. And we knew that if we didn't continue to make those investments, that we would not be able to continue to attract outside investment, the likes of which we've seen. That, you know, the old Renaissance building is going to be converted to this Rust Hotel. It's going to be a great project. The kitty corner from there, an outside developer came in, is building workforce housing in the Avalon, which will increase the density of the population in downtown. And they're doing a great job at the Modern Tool Building. They have a small hotel in that building, 12 rooms. They also they'll have up to, I think, 75 apartments by the time they're done, middle of next year. And they're really doing a great job with them.
So Infinite Erie is another one of your partners. I know you're the chair of the board. Kim Thomas is the executive director. I checked their new website, and it just says Infinite Erie puts plans into action. So does that really sum up what they do and why perhaps Governor Josh Shapiro is really taking notice of Erie? I mean, you had a whole group of folks go down there for Erie Day in Harrisburg. What did that mean?
Yeah, we had over 40 leaders from the region join us in Harrisburg, and we set up meetings with the different legislators down there and with the governor. We actually had the largest reception in the governor's receiving room that had ever been held. And so we set a record for attendance there. But the governor has given us his ear, because Infinite Erie has helped us collect into one place an organized, prioritized set of objectives for the community. And Infinite Erie is the convener. They're the ones that are taking sponsoring organizations, bringing them together, helping them get the know-how and the technical support they need to get a project from a concept to putting shovels in the ground.
Yeah, so I think when you can be so specific as that, as opposed to saying, help us, we need investment in Erie, now you're laying out there this implementation playbook so that really spells out specific projects. Are there some specific projects that you'd like to talk about that are getting traction and investment right now?
Yeah, I would say across the housing front, we're seeing increased levels of investment, and it's across the entire spectrum. It's housing for homeless, it's affordable housing, it's workforce housing, and it's even market rate housing. So there's a shortage of over 5,000 housing units in the city, and right now I think we have about 890 that are either under construction or planned to be under construction over the next 12 months. So we're starting to gain some traction on that. It's particularly important at the far end of the spectrum. The affordable housing and housing for the homeless is very difficult from an economic standpoint to pull together. And that's where Infinite Erie is helping organizations obtain grant dollars necessary to be able to afford building those housing units to take care of some of these social issues that we have.
Does any of that help the tax base? I mean, are we talking about moving people back into affordable housing in the city of Erie that could bring new taxes?
Yes, construction of and rehabilitation of the houses will bring tax dollars into the city in terms of labor taxes, but also eventually in terms of property tax increases that will occur. But getting to population density in the city is really important because the tax base needs a bolster. So if those people work in the city, and that's really what we're looking to do through some of the social organizations, is do job training to get people at least into entry-level jobs.
This is a big question, but I'm going to ask for a short answer. I mean, Erie is really different than a lot of other places in Pennsylvania. We've had some governors that spent a lot of time up here, some not so much, but you really think Josh Shapiro gets Erie?
I'll tell you what, he has been here, aside from Governor Ridge, no other governor has been to Erie as often as Josh Shapiro has, and he understands it. He has his arms around it because it's the thing that's unique about Erie is we're a little big city. It's a surmountable area. You can understand it. You have the lake, you got Presque Isle State Park, you got a vibrant downtown, you got neighborhoods. It all comes together, and really putting together a combined playbook like Infinite Erie is a great way for allowing a governor to consume what's going on here.
Well, when we come back, it's not all about development. It is about tackling Erie's homeless issue and offering hope to those in need. We're going to talk about the triangle of hope when we come back. Stay with us. I'm Lisa Adams. Welcome back again to The Insider. My guest is Erie Insurance President and CEO Tim Nicastro, and we are talking about investing in Erie and why it matters. So now to the project I think you want to talk about the most, is it's close to your heart, the Triangle of Hope. The Infinite Erie Investment Playbook has identified reducing chronic homelessness as a really critical need in Erie, and that's what this is all about.
It is. The Triangle really is represented by 3 school buildings that have been really underutilized or not utilized at all. The Washington Square School Building, that was the former headquarters of the Erie School District at 21st and Sassafras, Sacred Heart School Building on 26th and Liberty, and St. Paul's School Building down in the heart of Italy, which happens to be where I attended grade school.
Yeah, so these places are all fairly close together. You identified this is a pocket of the city that has a lot of need.
It is a pocket of the city. It's got roughly a 30% poverty rate, and about 70% of the population that own homes are spending more than 60% of their income owning that home, which means that they're really impoverished in a lot of other fronts. So the needs are deep in that neighborhood, and basically the 2 school buildings, the one on 26th Street, Sacred Heart, and the Washington Square School Building will both be residences for chronically homeless people. And we should be able to house somewhere between 40 and 50 people between those two sites. And the St. Paul School Building is really going to be addressing food insecurity. In conjunction with Second Harvest Food Bank, we'll have a grocery market in the lower level of that former school building. We'll put an addition on, an elevator to make it accessible, and we'll offer hot meal service there, as well as social services for the residents of the neighborhood.
So yes, at St. Paul's, it will not be residential.
Correct.
The other two are residential, one's for families.
One is for women and families, and the other one is for exclusively for men.
So you mentioned growing up, going to school in that neighborhood. What are you most worried about there, and how are you hoping that this all helps?
Well, I guess I'm worried about the neighbors understanding and trusting the center enough to come down and get the help that they need. You know, Lisa, if you take care of people's food needs and their social service needs, and they are housed, there's a good likelihood they can get back on track. But if one of those legs isn't being taken care of, it's very unlikely that they'll be able to be productive, to get a job, and to get back on their feet. We want to offer people job training. We want to give them every opportunity to succeed. We need them to come.
So I understand from looking at the prospectus that we were just kind of getting a glimpse of there that the Mazzini Charitable Foundation would be helping to operate this as St. Paul's becomes a community center. There's Second Harvest involved as well, the soup kitchen and so on. So Mazzini, is this the Giuseppe Mazzini Civic Association that always does scholarships?
It was the artist formerly known as that, or is the artist formerly known as that. We had to reform it as a 501c3 and as a foundation, but it is the entity that operates the St. Paul's Italian Festival, and it will also be the entity that operates the St. Paul's Neighborhood Center. Those will be the names that people will recognize, more familiar, with greater familiarity. We'll be out there at Erie Gives Day looking for donations that day, like everybody else is. But it's been like coming full circle. The fact that now I'm president of the Mazzini, and Mazzini owns my former school building, and we're converting it into this. It's been kind of unreal or surreal to go through this.
So altogether, these things, these three parts of the triangle, that's a nearly $30 million investment. So to really put these buildings into new use. So where do these projects stand? Is the work underway? I mean, this isn't happening just yet.
Right. Well, it is underway. Sacred Heart is in phase 2 of construction right now. They essentially, Jenny Haggerty at Mercy Center has essentially raised the funding necessary for that project. Our money is about 70% raised for the St. Paul's Neighborhood Center work, but we are very confident we'll get the rest of that raised by the time construction is undertaken again. Sacred Heart's been under construction for about 7 months now. St. Paul's, we did the demolition, the removal of the asbestos, etc. We are taking a break right now because it's all hands on deck, aimed for the festival early in August, the Italian festival. So our contractor is going to be in the starting blocks, and August 15th, him and his crew will be back constructing and not destructing.
When you're talking about $30 million, I mean, where are the investments coming from? Are these individual donors? Is there grant money involved? A little bit of everything?
There's a little bit of everything involved. To get a project, $10 million project done by a nonprofit is never clean. It's always multiple sources. I've had the good fortune of having a couple of private donors make some fairly sizable investments in our project, and I think that, like I said, it's a combination of things. We'll be doing fundraising even after the project gets underway to close the gap as well.
And just a last observation, I mean, you have to get the ball rolling, which is the hard part. If people see the vision for this, are you hopeful they'll be able to sustain these three things?
I think they will. There's a tremendous level of enthusiasm about the triangle, not only because of the rampant needs that it's going to address, but also because there are nonprofits working together. Like, I don't intend to start any programs. Neither does the schoolhouse, neither does Jenny at Mercy Center. We're all going to partner with other nonprofits that have programs in place. We'll give them a place to put on their programs. So that collaboration is really going to be necessary in this nonprofit arena because funding sources are diminishing.
Well, you mentioned keeping St. Paul's Italian Festival going, that's sort of the responsibility of this new 501c3. We're going to talk about why that matters and if Tim will be making meatballs when we get back. Right. Stay with us. We've been talking with Erie Insurance President and CEO Tim Nicastro about investing in Erie in so many different ways. So St. Paul's Italian Festival, this is more than a party to you. Why?
Well, first of all, it's a melting pot of everybody that I grew up with coming together for a big reunion. But it's also been a predominant fundraiser, first to support St. Paul's Parish when it was a standalone parish. And now it's going to support the work that we're going to do at the Parish Center. Mazzini is taking responsibility for the festival. The proceeds will enable us to defray operating costs, be able to provide very low rents to the nonprofits that will take up space in our facility there, and to be able to provide world-class space for them to operate in. I think that it's difficult sometimes, just the circumstances that nonprofits operate in make the delivery of their services difficult. This will be removing all the barriers for them.
So at a time that we're celebrating America 250, it's really a cool time to celebrate the roots of all of Erie's ethnic groups that settled here too, and the new Americans that continue to stream in and help our community grow. How important is that?
I'll tell you, it is an important thing for the city in particular. There's a tremendous labor supply among immigrants that come into town. We have a lot of resettlement resources here. I think we need to continue to invest in that. We've got to be careful, of course. We've got to protect our borders, and I don't disagree with tightening things up a bit. But there's a middle ground, and I think we need to find it. And if we can have things like St. Paul's Center support people that are coming in at first to get them on their feet. In a decade, them and their children will be productive citizens here.
So you really want people to come to the Italian Festival to support what you're going to do with the St. Paul's Community Center, and the dates of that are in August?
August 7th, 8th, and 9th, and the 7th is the pasta visual dinner on Friday night. Sunday's the spaghetti dinner, and I wouldn't want to miss either one of them if I were you.
And I know you're always helping in the kitchen there, so
yep.
Let's talk just broadly here before we close. How much does attitude matter when it comes to helping our city rise? I mean, obviously, City Council disappointed folks when they voted the Market House down. They did take another vote, and they changed their vote on that. So, again, how much does attitude matter that Erie seems like a place that's willing to progress?
I think that it matters immensely, but sometimes people don't understand the enormity of everything that is going on. And they're concerned about, they hear about certain things that are happening, like the Market House, and they think, well, what about this group of people or that group of people? When are they being taken care of? I can assure you that from my seat, I see what's happening across the community, and there is a balanced program of support across all ethnicities, all socioeconomic groups in the city, but they're not as apparent necessarily, and they need to be better coordinated. So I can appreciate some people having an attitude that's not quite as positive as mine, but I think if people invest in helping the community, they'll see that people are being well taken care of and being paid attention to.
I haven't left you much time to talk about this, but when you do retire, you're moving on to run the Erie Insurance Foundation. What will the connection of that be to these various projects we've been talking about?
Yeah, the foundation will be able to support not only philanthropy, but also economic and community development efforts in the city. The fact that I will be the president of that after I retire from being CEO of the company will enable me to kind of keep a pulse on what's going on and continue to leverage the connections that I've made over the last decade. The foundation was formed really to assure perpetuation of our ability to lean into the community well into the future, and it really should be a strong signal to this Erie, Pennsylvania marketplace that we are here to stay.
If people with deep pockets have listened to this interview and think, I'd like to invest, it would be good for them to go to the Infinite Erie website and take a quick look at the playbook? Absolutely.
There's a contact page. You can reach out and gain more information about anything that you're interested in learning more about and how you can help. We'd welcome the support.
Well, we certainly always appreciate having you here as a guest, and certainly the entire community appreciates what Erie Insurance largely does for our community to help it grow. Thanks again for being here. As always, thank you for joining us. If you have an idea for us to explore on The Insider, just email me at ladams@erienewsnow.com and join us again next time for The Insider. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa.